What's going on, boys? My name is Damien, also known as QB. How's everyone going today? And we are back with part 5 or 6. Pretty much, if you don't know by now, I'm doing a recap on every single team's performance last year and what to expect come out of before next season, or should I say this season that starts in 6 days. Let's get it. I'm only 5 down. I've got 25 to go, so double and triple uploads from here on out every day. So make sure you like and subscribe to never miss an upload. Without further ado, let's get stuck straight into it. The Minnesota Timberwolves, oh boy. First of all, let's just get out of the way that the fact they had a fantastic season last season. They would finish just one game outside the first seed and finish third in the Western Conference. After they got great performances from Anthony Edwards, Karl-Anthony Towns, and obviously the Defensive Player of the Year and Rudy Gobert. And before I even start mentioning off-season stuff, I always like to talk about the season beforehand, so which was 2023-24 NBA season. And in this season, Anthony Edwards solidified himself as potentially the next big face of the NBA once LeBron retires. He has proven he's got that dog in him, and after watching that Starting 5 show on Netflix, if you know, you know, I've grown so much more respect for this man and just appreciate his game a lot more after everything that happens outside the court and how much effort and determination he has for the love of basketball. Anthony Edwards had an outstanding season last year stat-wise. He would put up 26 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists a night, and it could have exploded for 40 nights at any given night. He would always look so dangerous and just ready to attack whatever the defense chucked at him. One area that we all knew, or a couple of areas I could say that everyone knows that he can improve in, is definitely his defense and his three-point shooting. Once we get down to it, but come the playoffs, the second and third round, he shot terribly from the three-point line. We'll touch on it more, but I reckon mostly the fact in the Western Conference Finals, the fact that he was guarding Kyrie Irving, this man was gassed, absolutely tired after every single defensive possession. Let's look at Anthony Edwards' partner in crime, as he calls his brother, Karl-Anthony Towns, had a great season also. He would finish up the season with 22 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists. Also, he had that amazing 60-point game against the Charlotte Hornets, which unfortunately is going to end up in a loss. That's what I'm saying, man. If you don't win these games where you drop 50-plus points, no one's going to remember him. I bet how many of y'all know that Devin Booker dropped 70 points? And then obviously you got the DPOY, Rudy Gobert, who averaged 14 points and finished second in the whole entire league for rebounds, averaging 13 a game. Last season, Rudy Gobert solidifies himself as one of the best defenders to ever play this game, 4 DPOYs. I want to go on a quick rant, not a quick rant, but say something. How does that man got 4, but Anthony Davis has only been a finalist once in his career? That's just crazy to me, but anyways, we move on. The Timberwolves last season had absolutely crazy role players around them, including Mike Conley and Jaden McDaniels, who's obviously one of the best two-way players in the entire league, and not to mention the 6th man of the year, Naz Reid, as some people would say, the GOAT. Every single team in the league needs a player like Naz. I know I say that about quite a few players, but it's true. He averaged 14 in the season while averaging 41% from the three-point line and 40% inside the arc. That's just crazy efficiency for someone who's limited to only about 20-25 minutes a game. But was always just to come in, even on the defensive end, he always held his own, especially since Karl-Anthony Towns was getting in a shit ton of foul trouble. Especially come the playoffs, they'll call Naz Reid number to do exactly that. You know, he wouldn't always, get the stop, but he'll always hold his own and not foul out or not get high fouls and always be reliable to always, just be there just in case anything happens to Cat, for example. The Minnesota Timberwolves would finish 2023-24 NBA regular season and a third in the Western Conference, and they'll play the Phoenix Suns in the first round. Obviously, the Phoenix Suns had their issues in the offseason with paying their free players an unreal amount of money combined to not really sorting out their point guard problem they had since day one, and that ended up costing them in dividends as they ended up getting swept by the Timberwolves in just 4 games. Everyone you could possibly think for the Timberwolves that could have had a good series did. They all came out and showed out, especially Anthony Edwards attacking Durant and making sure he knows that he's going to be here for a long time to come. In every single game, I guess maybe 12 of the 4 games somewhat felt close, but even in those close games, you always knew that the Timberwolves were just going to come out and just have like a great last 5 minutes or something. It's crazy to say, but the Suns just did not have enough star power on the defensive end, and the Timberwolves made them pay 150,000%. They were in for a long haul though. They were taking on the defending champions in the second round, the Denver Nuggets. The Minnesota Timberwolves would take a 2-0 jump on the Denver Nuggets, but it's actually crazy to say. I literally said this in my Nuggets video, but they announced Jokic to win the MVP award after that game too. And after that, it must have kicked a spark or motivated the Nuggets because they won the next 3 straight games and they were trying to close out in Game 6 at Minnesota's home ground. Unfortunately, Minnesota will come out to play and they'll smack him by 40 points led by Anthony Edwards. Speaking of Anthony Edwards, he had a fantastic playoff run. He upped the point average to 27 points a game and 6 assists, while also playing 41 minutes a game. That means this man had an average rest time of 3 minutes a game in the entire playoff run. That is just unbelievable. But it was just little occurring problems that was happening in this series that led to the Western Conference Finals. Before we talk about though, the Minnesota Timberwolves came out in Game 7 and they looked flat-footed. The Nuggets got the jump on them. Jamal Murray had that half-court shot. Down by 19 points later in that third quarter, and ended up coming back on Denver Nuggets and clinching Game 7 on the road. That is a tough thing to do with their altitude. And then I think we all seen Anthony Edwards' cockiness / kryptonite come towards him. He would know that at the end of the Game 7, he would ask to match up against Kyrie Irving. He said it on the TNT's post-game interview saying that he's got Kyrie and he looks forward to that matchup. I'm sorry to say, but Kyrie Irving busted his ass. He was that tired guarding him, guarding all the dribbles, trying to keep up with him. Even then, Kyrie Irving's off-the-ball movement is really underrated, and it was just all getting to Anthony Edwards while trying to provide so much more on the offensive end as well. It would eventually catch up to Ant. He would average almost 4 turnovers a game, same with Rudy Gobert. And unfortunately, they'll drop the first 3 games. No team has ever in the history of the NBA has even done the 3-0 comeback. It could have been the Celtics 2 seasons ago, but it wasn't. It still has not been done to this day, and who knows if it ever will be done. They clinched a 1 game at home, but unfortunately Dallas Mavericks will take that series in 5. Luka and them boys were just damn too overpowering for this Minnesota team, and honestly, I don't think they were expecting it. And this led us to the offseason. And in the offseason, the first splash they would make is for trade for Rob Dillingham on draft night. You'd think that Minnesota Timberwolves, that was a great move for them, considering that they were that close to making the NBA Finals and potentially winning the championship. They thought they were just a couple of moves away from getting it done. They'll do that, but also they'll make an unbelievable move by trading away Karl Anthony Towns to the New York Knicks for Donte DiVincenzo and Julius Randle and an unprotected first-round future pick. If you guys don't know by now, the Minnesota Timberwolves owner has had to pay the luxury tax for the last 3 seasons, obviously because they have 3 and now 4 max players on the roster. And usually in the NBA, if you're coming close to the seed, the owner does not really mind that they would pay that luxury tax. But I guess this owner was just sick of it and just decided to it was just time to make the team cheaper. Good news, I guess, for Timberwolves fans is Julius Randle's actually playing his first preseason game today against the Chicago Bulls. And I don't know what we can do with DiVincenzo. I guess it's best for now. He comes off the bench, so I guess you can have that starting lineup of Mark Conley still, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels. I guess you can slide in Julius Randle and then obviously Rudy Gobert at the 5. It's just such a bummer in my eyes because it was actually looking so good, the Twin Towers moves. Obviously did not work good at first, but it was starting to pay off and they're inching closer and closer to the championship. And me personally, I just think this is a massive step back. But I guess you got Rob Dillingham, some excitement to see growth. But to be honest, this is a massive step back from last year. I don't see you guys as the same contenders as you were last season. I guess it's going to prove me wrong, but I guess it's somewhat still the Twin Towers. But Julius Randle does not shoot the 3 nowhere near as good as Karl Anthony Towns does. As far as prediction goes, I'm going to say they finished 5th in the Western Conference, only because I still have an absolute bucket ton of faith in Anthony Edwards. But from there, I'm not really confident outside of him. Minnesota fans just be excited for a new beginning, I guess. You guys are around this score for a few seasons now. I guess the owner just didn't want to pay a luxury tax anymore, therefore you guys are going to have to run it back. Without further ado, this has been your boy QB. Thank you so much for the love and support, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.